I don't want to kill anyone. I don't like bullies. I don't care where they're from.
One of the most epic sequences of Avengers Endgame was when Cap finally lifted the Mjolnir and made the audience go wild. Mjolnir has been in the MCU for a long time now, which will yet again make its comeback in Thor Love and Thunder. And with it comes the question of who is worthy enough to lift it, and in general, what does worthy mean?
Is this a test?
The debate of worthiness got much of its spark from the after party in Age of Ultron, where Thor challenges everyone to lift the Mjolnir. While everyone failed at it, much to Thor's surprise, Steve budges the hammer, and it is that moment Steve realized he was worthy to lift it but chose not to. And then in Endgame, he confidently lifts the hammer to tackle Thanos.
I knew it.
The answer to what worthy means lies with Odin and what made him place the enchantment in the first place. In the first Thor movie, Odin deems Thor unworthy and strips him of his powers when he committed an act of war that would potentially lead to the death of millions. And then after Thor willingly lays down his life to save his friends, Mjolnir comes back to him. So being selfless makes you worthy. Not quite. I mean, at some point every hero in the after party is ready to lay down their lives to save people, and yet they are not worthy enough to lift Mjolnir. So what makes Steve a worthy candidate?
Can I ask you a question?
Just one?
Why me?
I suppose that is the only question that matters.
Odin wanted Thor to be a benevolent king, a better person who would guard the 9 realms, maintain peace, and who would set aside all his selfish ambitions to protect the people. But instead, Thor breaks Odin's trust and commits an act of war. His concern was for his own glory, for the thrill of battle, and not for the good of 9 realms. Odin saw too much of himself in his son, a brash and reckless man whose imperialistic ways would push the 9 realms into chaos and launch Asgard into an age of conquest. When Odin casts the enchantment on Mjolnir, he wants Thor to learn humility, the value of power, and the value of people, which he is yet again reminded in Ragnarok.
Asgard is not a place. Never was. Asgard is where our people stand.
These were lessons Odin himself had to learn in the past, but at a very terrible cost. Now let's talk about Steve. Steve Rogers has always been the epitome of morals in the MCU. Despite being skinny, Steve wanted to serve his country and believes he had no right to do any less than the other Americans who are laying down their lives in the war. Steve stands headstrong for the principles that he believes is right. We see that in Winter Soldier when he gives his speech, and this solidifies even more in Civil War. He believes in individuals more than the institutions that run them. Steve always puts others before himself. It's not just selflessness that makes him worthy, but also preserving the good values he believes in. Throughout the MCU, Steve has remained the same person he always has been. A kid from Brooklyn standing up against the bully in the first Avenger to standing up alone against Thanos and his army in Endgame. So why are the other Avengers unworthy of lifting Mjolnir? Tony is a futurist who believes in doing things his own way and has the "I got this" attitude which led to the creation of Ultron. Though he has done selfless actions in the past, his selflessness is always clouded with his ego and self-interest. Rhodey is a soldier who strictly follows the orders of authorities without even questioning whether they are right or wrong. Clint, in his low point of losing his family, goes on a killing spree, losing track of his heroic values. Bruce is always reluctant to turn into the Hulk. He runs away from the fight to save people while the others run towards it, questioning whether it is worth turning into the Hulk. Like Odin says,
"You are a vain, greedy, cruel boy!"
Hela was able to hold the Mjolnir maybe because her powers can properly override Odin's enchantment. Vision effortlessly lifts the hammer not because he is just an android, but because he is born of pure thoughts and ideals. He immediately realizes the value of life and chooses to fight for the good of humanity. He constantly displayed and retained the same values in each movie, hence worthy.
Well done.
Like Thor, Steve knows the value of power and the value of people. He retains those values. This is what qualified him in the eyes of Dr. Erskine for the Super Soldier program, and that is exactly what qualifies him to be worthy of Mjolnir.
This is why you were chosen.
So that was my take on what worthy means. If you guys like this video, then please give a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell for more such videos. Thanks for watching and I'll see you guys in the next video.
Eggshell shield.
And when I spun it really, really fast, it gave me the ability to fly.
You rode a hammer.
No, I didn't ride that.
The hammer rode you on your back.
No. I used to spin it really fast, and it would pull me off
Oh my god. The hammer pulled you off.
the ground. It would pull me off the ground up into the air, and I would fly. And every time I threw it, it would always come back to me.